the last great war ended, we withdrew from the other worlds and returned home to the realm eternal, Asgard.
Hey everybody, so ever since the end of that first Avengers film, we've gotten questions about what's going on with the duplicate Infinity Gauntlet that Odin had in his vault at the beginning of the first Thor film. So I'll explain what's going on with that, how they deal with continuity errors in the movies, and sort of the funny explainer for why there are two Infinity Gauntlets. But if you're finding me for the first time, be sure to subscribe to get everything. I'm still giving away Ragnarok tickets too, I'll explain that at the end of the video. So as with all things, the Marvel Universe has changed a lot since the movies have started to find more and more success, and they've changed the way that they cross the movies over and the way they envision the development of phases. Like this all started with the first Avengers film, building towards Thanos in the Infinity Gauntlet. So what you find is because their goals were slightly different when they started making these films back in Phase 1, there are a couple continuity errors that pop up. So they find creative ways of explaining them later on. Like in Spider-Man Homecoming, we found out that Peter was the little boy in Iron Man 2 that was wearing the Iron Man mask at Stark Expo. So when they made Iron Man 2, that was not the case. They never knew if they would ever get the Spider-Man character, but somebody said that at a press junket, suggested it, and Tom Holland mentioned it. Kevin Feige was like, you know what, we're going with that. That little kid, he was Spider-Man. So plot holes, continuity errors end up getting turned into Easter eggs in future films. So naturally, probably one of the biggest ones are the items in Odin's vault, primarily the Infinity Gauntlet, because if Odin had an Infinity Gauntlet, then why would anything else in the universe bother him? He would be the most powerful being ever, even if he didn't have the Odin Force. The only minor change to the vault at the beginning of Thor Ragnarok is the fact that they brought the Tesseract there at the end of the first Avengers film. Otherwise, it's relatively the same. So they have an Infinity Gauntlet, the Tablet of Life and Time, which is just something that grants immortal life on people. It debuted during the Spider-Man comics. So because it was so powerful and the people of Earth weren't ready for immortal life, Odin took it and kept it safe. This is the Orb of Agamotto. It just locates where magic is being used. It literally works like an eye. You can find out if there are powerful magic users nearby and uncover them. This is the Eternal Flame, which you guys might remember from the Surtur Saga from the Walt Simonson comics or from Jack Kirby Ragnarok. There was this prophecy that he would use it to light his sword Twilight and destroy Asgard and bring about Ragnarok. The movie finds a funny way to use that I'll talk about when I start posting more spoilery videos. This is the Warlock's Eye. It just allows people to cast powerful enchantments on other people. And then obviously you know all about the Cask of Ancient Winters. It's a little like the Tesseract, only it's not secretly an infinity gem. It's a limitless source of mystical frost energy, so like it literally allows them to blast frost all over everything. And as you saw during the first Thor movie, Asgardians are weak against it. It's not something that Odin could withstand indefinitely. You have the Tesseract, which we know is the space gem now, that's still sitting in there. And then right up until Thor destroyed it in the first Thor film, the Destroyer was there. But ever since we saw Thanos wearing the Infinity Gauntlet at the end of that first Avengers film, you sort of throw into question the logic of the Infinity Gauntlet with all of the Infinity Gems in it inside Odin's vault during that first Thor film. So during the course of Ragnarok, you just learn that it's a fake, like it's a cheap forgery. Because of course, the most recent version of the Gauntlet we've seen was at the end of Avengers Age of Ultron when Thanos puts it on, and that's the proto version of the Gauntlet that he'll actually be putting the Infinity Gems into as he collects them all. But they did reveal back at D23 what the new Infinity Gauntlet is going to look like when he's actually walking around during the movie next year. And that's just because they want to make it look cooler. Like, they want the movie to be as good as it can be. So it's just a visual retcon, So when you're looking at Thanos in the first Avengers film, obviously he looks way more primitive than he looks when you see him in Guardians of the Galaxy. CG has gotten so much more advanced since they did that first Guardians of the Galaxy film. He'll look even cooler when he shows up during Infinity War. But just to be clear, everything else in Odin's vault besides that fake Infinity Gauntlet is totally real and super powerful. The most powerful object in Asgard right now is the Tesseract because it is an Infinity Stone. The Odin Force technically would be like the second most powerful thing. The Eternal Flame is a little bit different the way they use it in the movie. I'll talk about that when I do my Easter egg video and I talk about Surtur, but that gets into some pretty big spoilers, so I'll wait for that for just a little bit. Kevin Feige has explained since that first Thor movie came out, because so many questions were levied at every single Comic-Con since that happened. What is the deal with that Infinity Gauntlet? Basically, what they were doing is because it was in the early stages of Marvel Studios, they never knew if they would have the opportunity to do the Avengers film. There were a lot of people that thought that they would fail, go into bankruptcy, and they'd never be able to do all these cool things that they've been doing the last couple of years. So the philosophy for the first couple of years was like, let's stuff as many cool Easter eggs into these movies as possible without any real idea of what they might turn into down the road, just leaving room for error if they needed to change things. So of course, everything went great. They made buckets of money. They turned it into phase 2, phase 3, building up to Infinity War. So once they knew that everything was going to be fine, they were like, yeah, well, we did a couple cool things in the first couple movies that didn't totally make sense because we didn't know what was going to happen and we were just trying to have fun. But like I said, the cool thing is that they can turn plot holes and continuity errors into more fun Easter eggs with later logic, like with the Spider-Man Homecoming Iron Man 2 Easter egg. So as they continue to have a lot more fun with the movies in Phase 3 and Phase 4 and all the movies after that, just expect more of that to happen, where things that don't totally make sense in older films based on new plot developments just get turned into really cool jokes or Easter eggs. So there is a funny moment during Thor Ragnarok with this second fake Infinity Gauntlet. I've gotten so many questions about it since the movie came out internationally, so hopefully that explains that scene in the movie. There are a couple really big things from the old films that get turned into jokes in the new film, especially with the Avengers film. So when you go to see it this weekend, just remember that they reuse a lot of dialogue and objects from previous films as jokes. Like, he's a friend from work, talking about the stuff during the first and second Avengers films. But it gets way deeper than that, and I'll talk about all of them when I do my Easter egg video this weekend. So I know a lot of you are asking about Thanos, Infinity Gems, more concrete things that are going on building to Infinity War. My next video will be for the post-credits scenes. I'll post that later tonight, so just look out for that. There's a new round of that Thor Ragnarok ticket giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a Thor-related comment on the video. Congratulations to the winner from last week, Riv Saturn. Please private message me so I can get your contact details. Click here for my Ragnarok review, and you can click here for that brand new Last Jedi trailer. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.